Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to discussing about attenuators. I think all will know it. What is meant by attenuation? Attenuation is the general definition of attenuation is power loss in the system or power loss in the device. Or else I need to get the attenuation definition from uh, general. An attenuator is an electronic device that reduce the power of a signal without appreciable distorting its waveform. And the attenuator is effectively the opposite of an amplifier through the two work by different methods. Just you need to remember in the amplifier what amplifier will providing which will be providing gain of the signal, and an attenuator provides the loss in the power loss in the system or device, or you need to represent like a gain less than 1. In order to control power level in microwave system by partially absorbing the transmitted microwave signal. This means that let us assume, or you need to take an example, best example for that is you need to take one resistive film, which means dielectric glass slab, which will be coated with the aqua. These are used in the designing of both fixed and variable attenuators. You need to see the diagram for that. This is the diagram you need to see. This is the dielectric slab. So in this diagram, first you need to see a coaxial cable. This is a coaxial cable or a coaxial fixed attenuator uses the dielectric glasses or dielectric glassy material inside the center of the conductor. Inside the center of the conductor of the coaxial line, like this line, to absorb some of the center of the conductor for microwave power propagating through it. Dielectric rods decide the amount of attenuation induced, which means that the dielectric rod decides the how much attenuation we will get it from this coaxial fixed attenuator. How much power loss will be getting from this coaxial fixed attenuator. This means that the microwave power absorbed by the lossy material, this is the lossy material. The microwave power absorbed by the lossy material is dissipated as heat. So from where we will get this microwave power absorbed by the lossy material, which will be dissipated as a heat. This will be dissipated as a heat. And in waveguides, this dielectric slab coated with the ADA, which is placed at the center of the waveguide, which is the placed at the center of this is the waveguide. This is the ADA dielectric slab, which is placed center of the waveguide, which is parallel to the maximum E field, which is parallel to the maximum E field for dominant mode 10. For dominant mode 10. And the induced current on the lossy material due to incoming microwave signal. And the results in the power dissipation leading to attenuation of the signal. And the dielectric slab is tapered at both ends. Up to a length of more than half wavelength to reduce reflections. Reduce reflections. This length will be going to reduce. This length will be going to reduce. See, this length is going to reduce. So the dielectric slab may be made movable along the breadth of the waveguide. The dielectric slab may be made movable along the breadth of the waveguide by supporting it with two dielectric rods separated by an odd multiple of quarter guide wavelength and perpendicular to electric field when the slab inside this diagram, when the slab is at the center, you need to see. When the slab is at the center, then the attenuation is maximum, which means that since the electric field is concentrated, since the electric field is concentrated at the center of the TE10 mode, is the flap attenuator. Okay, so when the slab is at the center, then the attenuator is maximum, since the electric field is concentrated at the center of the TE10 mode when the slab is at a center point. And then when it is moved towards one side wall, what will happen? The attenuation goes to decreasing, thereby controlling the microwave power coming out of the other port. And see this flap attenuator, the coming figure, you need to see. This figure shows a flap attenuator which is also a variable attenuator. A semicircular flap. This is a semicircular flap made of lossy dielectric is made to descend into the longitude slot. You need to cut this, and you need to cut this center of the top wall. Of the rectangular waveguide. When this flap attenuator, or when this flap is completely outside the slot, then the attenuation is zero. And when it is completely inside the rectangular waveguide, the attenuation is maximum. A maximum direction of let us assume 90 decibels attenuation is possible with this attenuator with a VSWR of 1 with the VSWR of 1.05. Then the dielectric slab can be properly shaped according to convenience to get a linear variation of attenuation within the depth of the insertion. So a precision type variable attenuator which will be consisting of a rectangular to circular transition. If we have, let us assume that if we have a precision type variable attenuator which consists of a rectangular to circular transition, you need to represent like this: RE, R capital, E small, capital T, RET. You need to represent like this if we have a precision type variable attenuator. A piece of a circular waveguide CW, a piece of a circular waveguide, and a circular to a rectangular transition CRT. You need to write down. If you want to represent circular to rectangular transition means you need to represent capital C, capital R, capital T, which I shown in the below figure. You will see in that. In that we have, you need to see in that we have, this is a precision type variable attenuator. In this we have a center circular section, containing the resistive chord RB. This is RB. Can be precisely rotated by, this is precisely rotated by 360 degrees with respect to the two fixed resistive chords. Here we have two fixed resistive chords RA and RB. Fixed resistive chords. The induced current inside these, the induced current on the resistive chord are this is the rectangular to RCT means rectangular to, sorry, circular to rectangular transition. RCT means rectangular to circular transition. This is a circular to rectangular transition. This is a TE10 mode, dominant mode, TE10 dominant mode. You need to write, you need to remember all these. This is a CW means, which indicates that circular waveguide. This is the circular waveguide. You need to see circular waveguide. This is the resistive chord RB. Okay, these two are what? These two are two fixed resistive chords. The induced current on the resistive chord are due to the incident signal is dissipated as heat, producing attenuation of the transmitted signal. You need to remember the induced current on the resistive chord R due to the incident signal is dissipated as heat producing attenuation of the transmitted signal. The TE mode, this TE mode in RCT, the TE10 mode in RCT is converted into TE in circular waveguide. TE in circular waveguide. This mode is going to converting into TE in circular. This TE mode RCT is going to converted into TE in circular waveguide. And the resistive chord R and RA. This is, here we have R, that R is perpendicular to this RA, which kept perpendicular to the electric field of this TE10 mode, so that it does not absorb the energy. It does not absorbing the energy, but any component parallel to its plane will be readily absorbed, Hence, a pure TE mode is excited in circular waveguide section. Hence, a pure TE mode is excited in circular waveguide section. If the resistive chord in the center section, if the resistive chord in the center section is kept an angle, assume that theta, which relates to the electric field direction, of the TE11 mode. TE11 mode, which will be which is already represented in the figure, TE11. Then the component E cos theta, the component electric field E and cos theta that parallel to the chord RB get absorbed, while the component E sin theta transmitted without attenuation, which means that the component E cos theta is parallel to the chord, which will be getting absorbed, while the component E sin theta transmitted without attenuation. This component finally comes out as E sin theta, E sin theta. E sin theta. Then see this resistive chord in the center section. What will happen? How to get it the values? How to represent the E cos theta and how to represent the E sin theta, and this component finally comes out of E sin 2 theta. You need to see that in the diagram. How we will get it the values from this diagram from the circular to rectangular. We already see this circular to rectangular, rectangular to circular. This is the resistive chord in the center section of this. From this we represent like this. How to represent the angle theta, like that you need to take. Next one is phase shifters. Phase shifters, which means that in the name itself we have, let us assume a microwave phase shifter is a two-port device which produces a variable shift in phase of the incoming microwave signal. A microwave phase shifter is a two-port device which produces a variable shift, in phase of the incoming microwave signal. A lossless dielectric slab, when placed inside the rectangular waveguide, which produces a phase. When will you get it that this phase shift means? If you placing a lossless dielectric slab inside the rectangular waveguide, then only will you get it this is the dielectric slab, lossless dielectric slab will be producing a phase shift. The next one is the precision phase shifter. A rotary type of precision phase shifter is shown in the below figure. You need to see that, which consists of a circular waveguide containing a lossless dielectric plate of length 2 called half wave section. A section of rectangular to circular transmission containing a lossless dielectric plate of length 1 is called quarter wave section, which is oriented at an angle of 45 degrees to the border wall of the rectangular waveguide. And A circular to rectangular transition and a circular to rectangular transition. Gain containing a lossless dielectric plate of same length 1, which is oriented at an angle 45 degrees. Let us assume the incident TE10 mode becomes TE11 mode in circular waveguide section. You need to assume that the incident TE10 mode becomes TE11 mode in the circular waveguide section. The half wave section produces a phase shift equal to twice that produced by the quarter wave section. This means the dielectric plates are tapered at both ends to reduce the reflection due to discontinuity. You see the diagram. From this we need to derive the precision phase shifter derivation part. EL, E2, E0. What is the value of all these? We need to discuss from this phase shift precision phase shifter. From this you need to get it the all values. When the TE10 from this, when the TE10 same this only. Here we have only addition to that the plates size we have, the plates wavelength we have lambda by 4, lambda by 2 and lambda by 4. This is the RA, RB, RC. These two are fixed resistive cards RA, RB, which will be having the wavelength of lambda by 4. The plates will be having resistive cards will be having lambda by 4. This is the lambda by 2 RB. Okay, so from that only you need to represent the values. Okay, yeah. So when the TE10 mode is propagated through the input rectangular waveguide, when the TE10 mode is propagated through the input rectangular waveguide of the rectangular to circular, which means that you need to send a signal from rectangular to circular, like this TE10 mode to rectangular to circular. Here we have already clearly need to see that if we have a rectangular means we have 3 directions. From that 3 we need to choose only 2 x and y directions. So in the z direction the electric field, if we are going to represent electric field, means the field will be going to equals to 0, and the magnetic field we need to calculate in the z direction. Okay, so you know it, that and all. Fine. Let us assume if you want to represent the electric field E to be the maximum electric field strength of the this mode, which is resolved in the components E1 parallel to the plate and E2 perpendicular to the E1. See that E1 is parallel to the plate. That E1 is parallel to the plate. You need to see that. E2 is perpendicular to the plate. This is the perpendicular to the plate. You need to see. This is the y direction, this is the x direction. You need to represent E1 and E2 from this. Okay. So in the diagram we have E1 is parallel to the plate and E2 perpendicular to the E1. After propagation through the plate, these components are given by the length 1, which is adjusted such that these two components E1 and E2 have, this is the E2 have equal amplitude, and here we have equal amplitude C1 and E2, but we have a different in phase. The difference is by 90 degrees. And the quarter wave section converted a linearly polarized TE11 wave into a circularly polarized wave and vice versa. Circularly polarized wave and vice versa. Means that after emerging out of the half wave section, the electric field components parallel and which will be perpendicular to the half wave plate. This will be perpendicular to the half wave. After emerging out of the half wave section, the field component E3 and E4 as given in the above equations may the gain be resolved into two T11 T11 modes. This will be polarized parallel and perpendicular to the output quarter wave plate. At the output end of this quarter wave plate, the field component which will be parallel and perpendicular to the quarter wave plate by referring from the figure. Okay, so this is the attenuator topic. After that, we need to discuss waveguide multiport junction. Waveguide multiport junction. So the basic definition of waveguide multiport junction is waveguide junction are used to enable the power. The waveguide junction are used to enable power in a waveguide to be split or combined for some extracted. This is used to enable power in a waveguide to be split or combined for some extract. There are a number of different types. There are a number of different types of waveguide junction that can be used, each type having different properties. Each type having different properties. The different types of waveguide junction affect the energy contained within the waveguide in different ways. The different types of waveguide junction affecting the energy contained within the waveguide in different ways. And the common type of waveguide junction include the E-type, H-type and a magnetic T and hybrid ring junctions. All these are different types of waveguide junctions. We need to include among that E-type, H-type and magic T is the very important. After that, we need to discuss hybrid ring junction also. These different forms of waveguide junctions have different properties, and this means that they are applicable for different applications. They are applicable for different applications. Having an understanding of their different properties enables the correct type to choose. Correct type to be choose. So these are the different waveguide junctions what we have from the syllabus. The main types of waveguide junctions are listed below. We need to discuss E-type T junction, H-type T junction, magic T junction, and one more is hybrid junction. Okay, coming to the first one, E-type junction. Coming to first type of E-type junction. So the E-type waveguide junction gains its name because the top of the T extends from main waveguide in the same plane as the electric field in the waveguide. A E-type waveguide junction gains its name because the top of the T extends from the main waveguide in the same plane as the electric field in the waveguide. So same here also. The H-type waveguide junction gains its name because the top of the T in the T junction is parallel plane of the magnetic field. This means H length in the waveguide. Coming to magic T. The magic T waveguide junction is effectively a combination of the E-type and H-type waveguide junctions. Magic T means the combination of H-type and E-type T junctions. Next, hybrid ring waveguide junction. So this is another form of waveguide junction that is more complicated than either basic E-type or H-type waveguide junction. It is widely used within the radar system as a form of duplexing. This means that this is the very widely used one within the radar system. So most probably we'll use a either E or H or T, not hybrid ring waveguide junction. Okay, so coming the first one, E-type waveguide junction. It is called an E-type T junction because the junction arm, that is the top of the top of the T extends from the main waveguide in the same direction as the E field. It is characterized by the fact that the output of this form of the waveguide junction are 180 degrees out of the phase with each other. See, this is only waveguide E type. You need to see this. What is the phase shift of this T is 180 degrees to, right? You need to see that only from this. Characterized by the fact that the output of this form waveguide junction are 180 degrees out of this phase with each other. We already discussed, right? See this. The top of the T extends from the top of the this T. This is the T. The top of the T is extends from the main waveguide in the same direction as the E field. From the main waveguide, the same direction of the E field. Okay, this is the waveguide E-type junction. So the basic construction of the waveguide junction shows the 3-port waveguide device. Here we have a 3-port waveguide. See in the diagram. This is the 3-port waveguide junction. 3-port waveguide junction, which shows the 3-port waveguide device. Although it may be assumed that the input is the single port. The input is the single port, and the two outputs are those on the top section of the T. These two are, this is the input port. From these, the remaining two are, those are on the top section of the T. Those two are our output ports. Actually, any port can be used as the input. You need to use any one port. Any one port you need to use input port. Remaining two will be act as a output ports. Okay. Remaining two being a output ports. To see how the waveguide junction operate in the laboratory and how the 180 degrees phase shift occur in the magic T, in the T. It is necessary to look at the electric field. So where we will be seeing this means in the electric field only we will be able to see. The magnetic field is omitted from the diagram for simplicity. The magnetic field will be omitted from the diagram for the simplicity. And it can be seen from the electric field. The output value will be seen from the electric field that when it approaches the T junction itself. When it approaches the T junction itself, the electric field lines become distorted and bent. See this. This electric fields sometimes will be bending, sometimes will be distorting. Okay, and bent. They split so that positive end of the line remains with the top side of the right hand section in the diagram. But the negative end of the field line remain with the top side of the left hand section. You need to see. In this way, the signals appearing at either section of the T or out of phase. Either section of the T or out of the phase. So these phase relationships are preserved if signals enter from either of the other ports. These phase relation are preserved for only if the signal either from either from either of the other port or inside the port. Okay. So this is the waveguide multi-port junction. Waveguide multi-port junction. Just you need to remember. Just you need to remember all once again.